Hi, this is Beth with All Ray of Light. I just did one brief reading and thought I would pull one more card because I just felt drawn to it. And I'm using the Akashic Tarot, Sharon and Klingler, I think, and Sandra and Taylor. Let me see what we're getting here because I feel the guides. Okay. Okay. Four of Roses, Views of the Ego. Oh my goodness. So I just want to briefly, hold on, read this. Let me find, before I give like what my guides are telling me. Three people stand together before a full-length mirror. The man in the center gazes keenly at himself, and it seems his reflection is looking back with a superior air. He is the sole reflection to be seen in the mirror. And it says, this card shows that there may be a thoughtless, selfish person in your life, whether in love, friendship, family, or business relationship. This person is self-absorbed and makes plans only in the terms of how they affect him or her. Wow. So I'm going to be honest, I feel like this is a political reading. And I think, and I believe there's layers to this, but the first layer that I'm getting is this is our president. This is Trump. This is Trump making plans only as it affects him, gazing at himself in the mirror. I really don't know a more self-centered person on the planet than Trump. Now, having said all that, I want to have my take on what I believe is his kind of role in our collective. I think that he showed up in our collective in the way he did to be a great mirror for us. Because being selfish and being self-centered and only thinking about yourself is not just limited to Donald Trump. This is a characteristic that humans share. I think when people rise out of the collective in a place of leadership, or they rise out of the collective and somehow into a celebrity status where we become aware of them, for good or for bad, they're there to teach us on a higher level than maybe just your day-to-day teachers that show up in your life. They're not better, but they are simply there in a more collective way. And I most definitely feel that he has shown up to show us many things about how we are in this country, how we treat people, and what do we want to be going forward. He's very much the overlay of the energy we've been dealing with daily since the election. There's no mistaking it. And he's not going to stop being that for a while. I think that we can have a lot of different reactions to him, and I know that there are people who really find him inspirational, I guess, or feel like he speaks for them. And I will be honest, I don't find that about him. But I can appreciate the lesson that he's doing, the lesson that he's showing us in our shadow, in our collective shadow, and in our individual shadow that needs to be addressed, that isn't going to go away. And that is, frankly, I think if humanity is to survive, we have to all begin to look at within ourselves and look at within our country and look at within our world. Being this stratified way of the superiority, that someone is somehow the superior, I don't think that humanity can move forward and survive in that stratified way of being, because it's an illusion anyway. We're all part of a collective energy. We give all kinds of names to that energy, and I don't really want to do that, other than I guess I would say the divine, that we're all part of, source energy. And there really is no room for somebody being better or worse than somebody else. Now, we all deal with judgment. We all deal with self-centeredness. These are things that we all deal with. Views of the ego. We're all in this little container, everybody's individual container, everybody's individual ego. Our great traditions teach us about our ego, teach us ways of overcoming our ego. I tend to look at the ego now differently than I did in the past. I felt like it was something to be defeated, or I needed to somehow transcend it. And now I almost feel like the ego is something I need to love. I need to love it so that it contains larger space for the energy that I feel like creates me, that flows through me, and that my heart is allowed to open in even larger ways. Judging my ego isn't going to help it. Judging Trump's ego doesn't transform it either. Now, having said all that, I recognize not everybody is going to feel this way, but I feel he is a great teacher for what we don't want to be and what we want to do in moving forward is to let go of the self-centeredness that we are somehow better than each other or worse than each other. And I would say that about your own ego, that your ego is better than somebody or worse than somebody. I have days where I feel more friendly with my ego than others, and today happens to be one of those days. So this is my take on it, and I feel like my guides are standing here with me, just wanting to remind us all to come from our hearts, and that means come from our hearts towards each other, towards ourselves, and towards the people that we have, through our collective decisions, tasked with running our governments, our corporations. How do we transform this going forward? Because I don't think anybody, no matter what side you're on politically, feels that the way things are right now can sustain as we try to move forward and with the numerous problems I think that we've created for ourselves here. So anyway, I don't know if this will speak to anybody, but blessings and have a good evening.